All right, let's talk about something we've all seen, that annual divide that happens on Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to dig into the real reason why some people are completely, totally indifferent to the biggest game of the year and what that actually tells us about our own social DNA. Okay, picture it. It's Super Bowl Sunday. The snacks are out, the TV is on. Are you the person on the edge of your seat, screaming at the screen, feeling every single play? Or are you the one kind of checking your phone, wondering when it's okay to go for another round of chips and dip? This isn't just about football, you know? It's about how we're fundamentally wired.
So let's zoom in on a scene that I bet is super familiar to you. We're calling it a tale of two couches, because even at the same party, you've got two completely different worlds happening.
On one couch, you've got the passionate fan. You know the type. They're wearing the jersey, they know all the stats, and every single touchdown feels like a personal win. A loss? It's devastating. But then on the other couch, you've got the indifferent spectator. They're here for the hang, the commercials, and yeah, definitely the food. They might casually ask who's winning, but they're just as likely to be deep in a TikTok scroll. So what's the deal with this massive difference? Well, it goes so much deeper than just liking or disliking sports. It really gets to the core of what makes us human. To really get this, we have to pull the lens back and look at our basic nature as a species. It all comes down to one core idea about who we are and where we all came from. And here's that big idea, and it's super simple but incredibly powerful. At our core, we are a tribal species. I mean, for thousands and thousands of years, our very survival hinged on belonging to a group, on having an us. And guess what? That instinct, it never went away. It just changed its uniform. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Sports are modern tribes with better merchandise. It's the perfect way to think about it. Fandom is a direct line to our ancient tribal wiring. We pick a team, we wear their colors, and suddenly we share this deep connection with millions of complete strangers. It's tribalism, just with, season tickets and foam fingers. So let's put a name on it. This tribal instinct is that deep biological pull we have to belong, to be part of a team, to feel connected to something way bigger than just ourselves. And for a lot of people, an event like the Super Bowl pushes that button hard. But what about our friend on the other couch, the one asking if it's halftime yet? Well, this brings us to the real heart of this whole thing. It's not that they're antisocial or hate fun. They might just be wired a little differently. And here's the big insight. That indifference, that lack of engagement, it often points to a lower tribal instinct. These are people who just don't feel that same powerful biological need to belong to something bigger, to feel whole. Their sense of self just isn't as tied to being part of a group. This chart really breaks it down nicely. On one hand, you've got someone with a high tribal instinct. They really need to belong. They get their energy from being in a group, which, by the way, can make them more likely to fall into that us versus them mindset. But on the other hand, you have the person with a low tribal instinct. They're more of an individualist. They feel complete on their own, and they're way less likely to get swept up in groupthink. So just to sum up the individualist profile, they don't have that deep biological itch to belong to a group. They tend to be more self-reliant and feel pretty complete all by themselves. And because their identity isn't wrapped up in whether their team wins or loses, they're often much less likely to get caught in groupthink. Honestly, this makes them really valuable because they can see things the rest of the group might miss. Now, this is so much bigger than just understanding what's happening at your Super Bowl party. Let's take this idea and apply it, everywhere. Once you get this framework, you'll start seeing it all over the place. Politics? Oh yeah, that's just massive tribes battling it out. Fandoms for shows or movies? Same thing. Even think about your office. A super tribal team can have amazing unity, but it might be that one individualist on the team who points out the big flaw everyone else is too excited to see. This high versus low instinct explains so much about how we all interact. And I really want to stress this part. This isn't a judgment call. One way isn't better than the other. An individualist isn't superior to a tribal person, and a tribal person isn't better than an individualist. They're just two different, totally valid ways of moving through the world. And you know what? A healthy society probably needs a good mix of both, the unity of the tribe and the critical eye of the individual. So let's wrap it up. What are the key things to take away from all this? First, we are a tribal species. It's baked into our DNA. Second, big events like the Super Bowl are like a giant magnet for those instincts. Third, and this is the big one, the person who looks bored might just be an individualist, not a downer. And finally, you can now use this idea to understand group dynamics everywhere, from your family to your job. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. In a world that seems to be organizing itself into more and more tribes every day, online, in politics, in culture, what is the role and maybe the unique value of the person who stands just a little bit apart? Something to chew on. Thanks for watching.